Hi, my name is Nicole Harris,
I'm Eric. I'm Sunday Curry.
I'm Martina.
and today we'll be talking to you about communication, both personally and in organization business structures, and how vital it is to the success of oneself and their business.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Hull, and I'm going to talk to you today about why communication is important in the education field.
So why is it important for teachers to communicate effectively when at early childhood education centers?
Because it's basically communication is the key, because you need to go on what's going on with the families, you need to go in with the children, promotes health and safety, and health and safety is the number one goal of early childhood education centers is health and safety.
Are there any ways that teachers communicate ineffectively with parents?
Ineffectively, I say, is no communication, because if something happens to their child and they don't know, and if it's not documented, then licensing can come and they can get written up, and or they can get terminated or suspended.
So licensing is the agency that monitors early childhood education centers. So are there other types of way for centers to be accredited in the state and recognized by the state?
Yes, there's ECHRS, which is the environmental rating scales for preschool. There's also ITERS, which helps with the infantile program. Those two also give you funding. If you rate on a higher scale, you pass, then that equals more funding to the program, to your individual program. There's also NACCE, which is the accreditation. And if you get accredited, then your name goes on their website, and teachers get lots of benefits like conferences, free conferences, and basically you're known as a top quality preschool.
So accreditation is a way of making sure that you're at a quality preschool and that the teachers continuously improve their education so they can communicate with their families and students and keep having more children learn each day?
Yes. Exactly.
Hello, everybody. So communications is conveying a thought to people to get them to do the things that you need. One of the key components to communicating effectively is active listening.
Nicole, what's active listening?
Well, active listening is when you're not thinking about something else like, did I buy the milk? Did I feed the dog? It's actually being present in that moment, listening through that conversation.
Is that like communicating with people?
Yes, it is. So when you're on the phone with somebody and you're just going, and you're not letting them get a word in edgewise, guess what? That's not communicating effectively, because you've missed half of the conversation. But by saying, what I heard you say was this, you are letting that person say, yes, they said this, or no, they did not. So you understand the information thoroughly.
Nicole, being that you are visually impaired, how do you communicate in business?
Well, in business, it's very important that you have a structure in place. That means having people have assigned tasks and having them repeat back saying, what I heard you say is, I need you to do this at this time and this date. Then you can say, okay or no. Also providing division of labor with clear guidelines. And these are my expectations.
Is this the first time the communication issue came up with you at school, or has it been a problem, or is it not a problem?
Communications is actually a problem for many people because we're so busy and fast-paced in this Western world that we do not take the time to listen actively. Busy thinking about, oh my gosh, did I feed my animal on my iPad, or did I mark this on Facebook, that we're not paying attention to what people are saying.
What about communication and technology?
Communication and technology is a very interesting thing, because saying things with emojis is not communicating effectively as if you were to call a person. When people send text messages, it can get lost in translation because there is no verbal and emotional cues to read. So if you say something, it might just get lost and you might get into a big fight.
Hello, and welcome everyone to Improving Personal Communication Skills 101. Today I'm going to be giving you some condensed skills that you can work on to improve your personal communication skills. The first one being be self-aware. In being self-aware, I want you guys to take 5 minutes to reflect. At the end of each day, think about how you're feeling emotionally, how you've communicated with others and how they're communicating with you. From there, take another 5 minutes to meditate. Take time to clear your mind and flush yourself of all the negative energy that you might be having throughout the day and be ready to communicate fresh for the next day. This is important because what it does is opens you up for people to communicate with you, and you want to be an open window and never a closed door when it comes to communication. Next, we're going to move on to our next skill that we can improve on for personal communication, which is make lists and use calendars. What I mean by that is you can be old-fashioned and use a notebook that you carry around to keep a to-do list to stay organized with, or you can use memos in your phone. You can also use a full calendar, as you can see I have displayed here. That's something I use every day. Or you can use Google Calendar, which you can have other people see and know what's going on with you throughout your day and week and so on. These are important because ultimately you're staying organized. That's the most important thing here, guys. Staying organized. This is going to be big in your communication because you'll always know what's going on, so you can communicate with others and let them know what's going on as well, and they can stay up to speed on you and what's going on in your life. Moving on from there, we're going to talk about skill number 3, which is ask questions. Asking questions is important because it improves your active listening skills, which is an important part of communication both in business as well as in your personal communication. Everyone wants to know that what they're talking about is interesting and that you're actively listening. It also gives you a different perspective when you ask people questions about what they're talking about. Maybe you think you understand exactly what they're saying, but by asking a question you get more clarification, and maybe now you don't agree necessarily, or you maybe even agree even more. Also, certainly not the least, you learn. And learning is a very important part of communication because it furthers your communication skills. Just like we're learning all of this right now because I'm communicating it with you. Now you've learned something and you can pass it on, and then we'll continue communication. These are just 3 simple things. I didn't want to overwhelm anyone today. I hope I wasn't talking too fast, and I hope you were able to keep up. But those were 3 skills that I think you can use to improve your personal communication skills. Thank you.
Are you tired of being a stupid kitty in the workforce? Well, here are some helpful tips to help you. Do you know what kind of workforce you want to go into? Is it Google or is it a mom and pop shop? Well, you need to know how to communicate in both. There are different styles for each one. So when it comes to Google, they're going to have a more relaxed, mellow tone about them. So you want to kind of communicate that way, but you also don't want to be too friendly, and you still want to have that professional quality. So you're not saying like shit or anything like that, but you can still be relaxed and professional. And for a mom and pop shop, communication is like, you still talk professionally, but mom and pop shop, you still talk maybe a little bit more professional than you would at like say Google, because there's not your mom and pop. You also have to take into account how they communicate as well. For Google, they're more towards like email or technology based, and then a mom and pop, they don't really have that money to spend on that, so you're gonna have more face-to-face interactions than you probably would at Google. So you have to learn to adapt to those techniques. Are you an introvert as well? Are you an extrovert? You have to understand yourself as well, and if you're able to adapt to those situations where they need you to be an extrovert, like Google, they want you to be outgoing, they want you to sales, and also a mom and pop shop as well, but you don't really have to be, they're not really like a well-known brand where you have to be like super, well, you can go the extra mile, but yeah. So when it comes to technology and stuff, we're always changing, we're always adapting, so we have to learn to communicate better with technology. We have to find ways also communication, the number one thing is to speak up for yourself, understand yourself, and if you want to really get promoted and so on, you really gotta make a brand for yourself. You gotta set yourself apart, what's gonna set you apart from the rest of everybody else.
Communication means for you?
Communication is the ability to interact with different people on a social level.
And how do you like to communicate?
Physically, I communicate using my mouth, but as well as speaking English with some of my friends, Spanish with my family. Communication can go both ways. You could text, instant message, Skype, whatever the case is.
So tell me about good communication and its effectiveness and significance.
Good communication is face-to-face because you are able to actually understand what people are saying unlike text messaging or using a messenger app, because sometimes people could act sarcastic online and you would take it the wrong way.
Tell me about bad communication and give me an example of an incident where bad communication has occurred with you.
Bad communication would be like through texting and ways like that, because you could message them, "You're so stupid," without, just in that context, and they're just like, "Why you call me stupid? What'd I do to you?" When in reality, you're just playing a joke on them.
Do you communicate differently based on your environment or environments? For example, how do you communicate at school or work versus with your family or friends?
With friends, I communicate more casually through text messaging, emails, stuff like that. But with family, I'm more face-to-face. I have to talk to them a different way, with different mannerisms.
Do you find it difficult or easier to communicate with someone who is very similar to you? And how about communicating with someone who is very different from you? Is that also easier or much difficult?
Talking with somebody more that's like me is much easier, because I'm able to express myself a little more casually, because they're able to understand what I'm talking about. They're not questioning why I'm talking like this. With a person that's the complete opposite from me, on the other hand, it's much difficult, because they are like, "Why are you talking like that? Why are you being so, different?"
Right on. How can good communication improve the world?
Good communication can improve our world by basically good communication. You get good relationships. Communicating frequently helps you get a better understanding of a person, a place, certain objects.
Awesome. Thank you for your time, Mario.
No problem.